Welcome to BlackUSA.news morning show. I'm your host, William Honolulu Jr. Join us as we explore the news and opinions that impact our community. We break down how the major stories have a very personal, local, and racial impact. No topic is off limits, but even if the conversation gets rough, we're always going to keep it real. Greetings and salutations, all my friends out there in internet land. I am William Honolulu Jr., and I have the privilege and honor of serving as the host of the Black USA News Morning Show. Good morning to you. As always, I want to start off by giving a big shout out to the super producer, Kyle Crazy Horse Morgan, and our assistant producer, Brandy Raymar. They do an amazing job of making sure that I have the materials that I need so that I can give you the show that you deserve. So big up to them. Those of you all who are in front of a camera or who are in leadership, you know how important it is to have a team that has your back. And I'm a lucky man to have the team I have. So thank you. And I always want to make sure that my people know that they're appreciated. Black USA News and our partners at Be More News are proud to be a part of the long history of the black press, of black journalism, dating back through Reconstruction, the abolitionist movement, and through civil rights, lynchings, all of these things that have happened in the black community. The black press has been there. And in many cases, if it wasn't for the black press at the time, there are a lot of stories that would have just been lost to history. So we want to give a big shout out and celebrate the black press. So here's a little tribute video that our friends over at Be More News did.
There's a sparkle in your eyes. I feel the warmth of your skin. Just the touch of your hand makes me tremble within. Love the smell of your hair, lying here in my bed. Never gonna be alone, 'cause with you I'm finally coming home. I wanna be with you always, 'cause that is what my heart says. That's what my heart says. I wanna be with you always. You are my world in every place. It's the things I do, it's the smile on your face. And as time goes by, I know I'm in a better place. I'm in a better place.
Black USA News is also really happy to partner with Breadcoin. Breadcoin is a nonprofit organization that takes your donations, turns them into coins that turn into meals. The way that it works is that when you give a donation to Breadcoin, they add it to the value of the coins that they have in circulation. So they've minted all of these coins. And these coins go to nonprofit organizations who have a demonstrated ability to engage people in the community that are dealing with hunger and starvation issues. So Breadcoin takes the donations, they create these coins and give the coins to the nonprofits. The nonprofits then give the coins to individuals who need meals. And then they get to go to a restaurant and they get to pay for their meals with the Breadcoin. Nobody knows if they're a volunteer, if they're how they got the Breadcoin, but they get to go into a restaurant and eat with dignity. So Breadcoin not only is very interested in you donating, and we are very interested in encouraging that as well, Breadcoin wants to let you know how you can get involved. Every month they have a introduction to the Breadcoin food tokens. It's a monthly Zoom meeting with the leadership, and it's a really great place to start to learn about Breadcoin. You can go to their website, breadcoin.org, and register to get monthly emails and newsletters, and find out more about the Zoom link so that you can learn more about Breadcoin. If you are in a community and you want Breadcoin to come there, and you may have some people in your community that are food insecure, or you just may want to bring some of the vendors and restaurants to your community. Breadcoin does what does what they call a flash table, and it's engaging the neighborhood. And the vendors come out and they contribute to the feast, and everybody just sits at a table and they eat. It's not a come and get a plate and leave. It is really a place where you go and you build community. It's an amazing experience. And so, if you get an opportunity, again, go to breadcoin.org, or just keep tuning in here because we'll be talking about them for a very long time to come. One of the other things that we're also going to do is shout out those restaurants and businesses that support and work with Breadcoin. Today's vendor is Zella's Pizzeria. Zella's Pizzeria is amazing. It is in Baltimore, Maryland. It's at 1145 Holland Street, 21223. Their website is zellaspizzeria.com, and the telephone number is 410-685-6999. Again, their website is zellaspizzeria.com. Their phone number is 410-685-6999. I am a big fan of Zella's, and I'm grateful that we get to start off with them, because not only do they have amazing pizza, their sandwiches are incredible. I've been going to Zella's for years. Haven't gone too much since the pandemic because, I don't go out a lot. People breathing on you and stuff. But I enjoy them, and it was really great to see that they are on the list of vendors who support Breadcoin. Well, we're going to continue our conversation about college and about higher education and those things. I had an opportunity to sit down and talk to one of our good friends of the show, Dr. Michelle Talbert-Horsey. Michelle and I talked a little bit about community colleges and that it is an access point for higher education for many people in our communities. So I'm going to give you an opportunity to listen in to.
Um, One of the interesting things that kind of recently well, for me, a place that community college attendance was highlighted was an interview that Donnie Glover had with Wes Moore. And he asked him about his three favorite pieces of jewelry. Nice little, wrap up the interview question, feel good. And he talked about his ring. Had a ring on. It was huge. And I was like, oh, it's probably like some kind of, sports scholarship or something like that. And he said it was his class ring from his time in community college or junior college in his area. And he said that he also made reference that he was the only candidate that actually had an associate's degree. And he talks a little bit about the importance of an associate's degree in his life, how it gave him a foothold. And again, he was from troubled circumstances or disinvested circumstances. So he was able to utilize the community college as a stepping stone, as part of a larger process. And some of the reasons that he chose weren't necessarily academic, but they were financial. It was an easier way for his family to afford to send him. And once he got there, he was able to really take that opportunity and scale it up and do a lot more things. Ended up at Hopkins and stuff like that. And again, this isn't the Wes Moore story. He got enough press and dealing with that now. This is an example of the use of community college to develop the next generation of leaders. And so I figured that I'd bring one of this generation of leaders up to talk to us about how we support the next generation. Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Michelle Talbert-Horsey. What's up, Doc?
Hey, William, how are you?
I'm doing really well. How are you doing today?
I am sunshiny well.
Oh, that's a wonderful way to get it started. It's always nice to be like, ooh, I'm feeling good early on. All right. So you heard my lead-in, did you, about community college and how one of our gubernatorial candidates have been making that an issue. Well, I'm sorry. I had to go back to my show notes. Doc, introduce yourself to quickly for some of our guests who may not have seen, some of our audience who may not have seen your last few guest appearances.
Oh, okay. So, hello, everyone. My name is Dr. Michelle Talbert-Horsey. I have 23 years of experience in higher education. I am also a former community college student.
Okay.
So I have a lot to share today from my personal experience and my current experience working in community colleges.
Okay, tell them about what you do at community colleges, because I want you to talk about that a little bit, because I know we've done shows exclusively about your role in the community college, but it is and we've talked about this before. The office that you work with is one of those that people tend to think about at the end of their journey. And I just want to make sure whenever we get an opportunity for them to understand how important that space is in their community college journey or in their academic journey at all. So you can tell them a little bit about where you work and what you do.
I am the Director of Career Services for Harrisburg Area Community College. And primarily what we do is help prepare students for the next step. We help students to, first of all, identify their why. Why are they in school? What do they want to do? And we help you to connect the dots to get there, whether that be to transfer to a four-year institution or to graduate with an associate's degree and go to work, or if it's only just to take a couple of classes because you're already working, you just need a couple of classes to upskill. We help you figure all of those pieces and parts out and help you to kind of create a path for yourself.
Yeah, and like I said, I want to make sure, especially as we're talking to some of the parents out there right now, and also some of the students, making sure that they know that going to career services isn't the thing you do to wrap a bow on your academic experience. Going to career services needs to be part of the planning process of your academic experience from the beginning. So I just want to make sure that people get that.
BlackUSA.news and our partners at Be More News also love to support Black businesses. We've also done a promotional highlight, "We Love You," to Black businesses, and I want to give you an opportunity to take a look at it now.
Donnie Glover, and I'm the world's biggest fan of Black-owned business.
Pick it up, pick it up, pick it up, pick it up. You see the drippy, I'm fitted up. Hop in my car and the giddy up. Secure the bag, yeah, I get the bus. Pick it up, pick it up. You see the drippy, I'm fitted up. Hop in my car and the giddy up. Secure the bag, yeah, I get the bus. Pick it up, pick it up, pick it up. I've been on the flex since flex on. Neighborhood all in your eardrums. I ain't never scared like Bone Crush. Boy, I got God, don't fear none. My line busy, take no calls. Feels like I don't have no flaws. Snakes in the grass, cut those off. Yo, squad shady, my bros raw. No breaks, we go, 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 go. Throw shade, that's a no, 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 no. Go high, go low, low, low. Like spinning in a 644.
1,000 books.
Amen.
I started a library on Rapid Sound.
Pick it up, pick it up, pick it up. You see the drippy, I'm fitted up. Hop in my car.
Thank you for your support.
You see the drippy, I'm fitted up. Hop in my car and the giddy up. Secure the bag, yeah, I get the bus. Pick it up, pick it up, pick it up. Ooh, I'm a real one, my day ones. Try speak up, can't say none. Try dig dirt, there ain't none. I make the money that save up. 10 to 80, my savings. Take to the top on the base one. New car, race on. Fast lane, pace on. With the booyah, that's a flex. Not human, I ain't from another planet. I'ma teleport my van.
On the mighty Mississippi.
Working all night, need more though. I remember nights I was poor though. Pick it up, pick it up, pick it up, pick it up. You see the drippy, I'm fitted up. Hop in my car and the giddy up. Secure the bag, yeah, I get the bus. Pick it up, pick it up, pick it up. You see the drippy, I'm fitted up. Let me make sure. Secure the bag, yeah, I get the bus. Pick it up, pick it up, pick it up. You see the drippy, I'm fitted up. Hop in my car and the giddy up. You see the drippy, I'm fitted up. Hop in my car and the giddy up. Secure the bag, yeah, I get the bus. Pick it up, pick it up, pick it up. Ooh, I'm a real one, my day ones. Try to speak up, can't say none. Try to dig dirt, there ain't none. I make the money that save up. 10 to 80, my save ones. Take to the top from the base one. New car, race on. Fast lane, with the booyah, that's a flex. Not human, I ain't from another planet. I'ma teleport, might vanish. I'ma wake up, do damage. Join number 7, he's bored though.
What's up, cuz?
I remember nights I was poor though. Pick it up, pick it up, pick it up, pick it up. You see the drippy, I'm fitted up. Hop in my car and I get it up. Secure the bag, I get the bus. Pick it up, pick it up, pick it up. You see the drippy, I'm fitted up. Hop in my car and I get it up. Secure the bag, yeah, I get the bus. Pick it up, pick it up, pick it up.
But they can't run an office. And so we have been trying to develop a back office support program where we can do all of their back office work. Because they may be great at plumbing, great at electricity, great at whatever they chose, but they cannot run an office.
You see the drippy, I'm fitted up. Hop in my car and I get it up. Secure the bag, yeah, I get the bus. Pick it up, pick it up, pick it up.
I love you too.
One of the things that Michelle and I talked about was the stigma associated with community college. As you'll hear, a lot of people talk about it as the 13th grade. One of the reasons that that happens, especially in Black communities, is that many of the students who go to college from Black communities, especially public schools in Black communities, many of them still need remedial help so that they can be prepared to take college level classes. I had a friend of mine who was doing a summer bridge program, that program for students who are qualified to get in, but their test scores weren't high enough to suggest that they would be able to be successful on their own. So there is this academic enrichment program that happens over the summer. She said she was in a majority African American, or at least a majority city that's people of color. And she said in this class, she had, I think it was like 10 to 15 valedictorians or salutatorians from public schools. Think about what that says for a second. The students who received the highest honors were not qualified or did not have the requisite skills that they said they were comfortable to be in college without some type of boost, without some type of supports along the way. One of the reasons that that might happen is that according to research, approximately 57% of African American students attend schools with complete curricula in science and math that could be construed as making them college and career ready. 57%. That sounds bad. It's way worse than you think it is. For Asian American students, it's 81% of them attend schools that have the resources for them to be college and career ready. And for white students, it's 71%. 71%, 81%, and 57%. That means 43% of Black students are going to schools without resources that are necessary for them to be college and career ready. That's a problem. And so one of the things that happens is with the community colleges open enrollment policy, students who may otherwise not been able to get into a four-year institution or some other credentials, they get to go to community college. And so we talk a little bit about the stigma associated with community college. So here, listen into that.
So you said you were a community college student. Okay, so that you heard me talk about Westmore's experience, and when I was working in community and public schools, one of the ways that many of the teachers looked at community college, it was for those students who who may not have had the academic background to effectively compete in a traditional academic setting, or those who had financial challenges, or those who were uncertain, or those that they were uncertain about. And so those were kind of my experiences and the the stereotypes associated with community colleges. But I've known you, like I said, the better part of my adult life, and none of those things seem reflective of what I've known about you. So why did you choose to go to a community college?
Well, I was in a position where I had applied to four-year institutions, and I got into several institutions, but my parents couldn't afford to send me to those institutions.
Mm-hmm.
They basically said, no, we're not going to take out a student loan to pay for you to attend Purdue University, which happened to be one of the schools I applied
Mm-hmm.
to and got accepted into. I also applied to University of Notre Dame of Maryland.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And again, my parents said, no, that's too expensive. So I got into Salisbury State,
Mm-hmm.
or what is now called Salisbury University, then
Right.
Salisbury State University.
You don't forget about the brand. Don't forget about the brand.
But I went down for orientation.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things that put me off to Salisbury at that time is that I felt like I was the only person of color in the room.
Mm.
And even though I attended a high school where I wouldn't say I was the only one, but there wasn't quite as many students of color, I still felt a little bit uncomfortable. But my parents kept pushing, if you want to go anywhere, you're going to Salisbury. If you want to go anywhere, you're going to Salisbury.
Right.
I said, no, I don't want to go to Salisbury. And on top of that, I really wasn't prepared to leave home.
Mm-hmm.
I just really wasn't prepared for that experience psychologically, emotionally. I just wasn't prepared to live on my own at that time.
Right.
And so my sister, who was a graduate of Salisbury, said, have you thought about community college for a couple of years and just taking your gen ed requirements and then seeing how you feel after that? And so, because I knew what I wanted to do at that time, I wanted to be an occupational therapist. So I had my path. I knew what I was going to do. And so I took my sister's advice and I applied to Montgomery College.
Okay.
And
that's for some of our listeners who are not from the DMV, tell them where Montgomery College is.
Well, they have several campuses. The campus that I attended was in Germantown, Maryland.
Okay. So that's in the that's outside, it's in Montgomery County, which is a suburb of Washington, D.C., for those that might be on the West Coast right now.
Oh, yes. And I signed up for classes.
Mm.
It was just as simple as that. I felt comfortable. The classes were small, which made me feel really comfortable. They were even a little bit smaller than my high school class, which really made me feel comfortable. And I got a chance to really interact with my professors. But much like you, when I was in high school, community college was treated as the 13th grade.
Yeah, that is what you're absolutely right. That's what they call it, the 13th grade.
For people who did not do well, or people who couldn't get in anyplace else. What I found out was that quite a few of my colleagues, of fellow students, I would say, were attending different campuses of Montgomery College. So even people that I saw in my honors classes were enrolled in Montgomery College.
So let me just throw in something for people who aren't from the area. The stereotypes that we're talking about community colleges, they especially do not apply to Montgomery College. Montgomery College, from my vantage point, ranks with any other 4-year college that I have had an opportunity to be associated with. Like the quality of education, especially and I'm sorry, I'm jumping ahead because I'm excited about this. Because we're going to talk about the community college and continuing education down the road, right?
Yes.
Okay. I didn't want to jump ahead, but that is so I just wanted them to understand, like, it's not while it's conceived as the 13th grade, the rigor and academic preparation at Montgomery College is top notch.
Well,
beyond the stigma of community colleges, one of the things that we need to understand is that this is a pathway for people to get economic benefit. economic benefit, because research is very clear that there is a strong correlation between academic attainment and employment outcomes. Actually, let's take a look at what the Bureau of Labor Statistics says. It says that employees who have some college, that means they didn't get the associate's degree, didn't get the credential, they just have some college, they earn approximately 10% more than their peers with only a high school diploma. And watch this. They earn, now just some college, you earn 50% more on average, or the median income is 50% more than people without a high school diploma. So again, we're not talking about bachelor's degree. You could take a look at the chart and see that bachelor's degrees take it even higher. But we're talking about just helping students achieve a better quality of life by getting a year in college, it's 2 years in college, developing that persistence and helping them gain the support. And community colleges, in many cases, are designed around that. And so Michelle talks about how she transitioned from a community college to a 4-year school and some of the differences. And some of it was surprising to me. Listen in.
One of the things that people don't realize about community college is that the professors that teach at community college oftentimes are professionals who work in the field. And oftentimes they are professors that teach at the 4-year institution. So it's nothing to see a professor who teaches at the University of Maryland also teach a course at Montgomery College.
Yeah.
And they are not changing their rigor because it's Montgomery College and not the University of Maryland. They're teaching the way they teach.
Right. And that is a really great point that you bring up. It is this idea of the 13th grade, you are still participating. It's not the 13th grade. It is, you are at college, like a college. And the thing that I've liked is that it literally reflects the community. It's not just called a community college. It's open enrollments and it's those types of things. It makes it a more comfortable place because it looks like the place that you live.
Mm-hmm.
I always thought that was really cool. Yeah. So how did you enjoy your experience at Montgomery College? Was it, you said the rigor was high, but what about the life there?
The life for me was excellent because I'm an introverted person. So it takes a lot for me to really be a joiner of groups and that kind of thing. And in that smaller environment, I joined groups. I got connected. I built my network professionally and academically. I could go to any of my professors with any questions that I had. They always had an open door policy. So I got to know the career and academic advisors. I got to know the person who was the director of the career and transfer office. So when I needed transfer information, I knew exactly who to go to. If it wasn't what I thought was the correct information, I knew who to take it up with.
Right.
So I was able to build friendship networks as well, even in my larger classes. But more importantly for me, I found out what I didn't want to do with respect to my career. I got into a biology class. And that biology class did a number on me. And I realized that occupational therapy wasn't going to be what I thought it was going to be.
This is not what I thought it was.
Yeah, biology for medical students or something like that.
Okay.
And I had a professor that was really honest, and he said, "Hey, Michelle," if I talked to him after class, I said, "What can I do to pass your class? Because I'm struggling here." And he said, "Yes, you are." And he said, "I'm gonna be really frank with you. If you want to go into occupational therapy, you're not going to be able to make it unless you get at least a B in this class. Because you're going to have harder science courses to pass. And if you can't pass this, and this is the entry level course, you may want to think about other things." And he's the person that kind of started me to thinking, what else am I interested in?
Okay. So even though this is what I got started in and I've been sure about it, you were able to explore some. And again, I'm just trying to make sure I get it because I mess with stories sometimes.
Yeah, I was able to explore because he actually opened up the door for me and said, what else are you interested in? What else are you taking that you were interested in? And I said, well, I'm interested in history. And he said, okay, let's explore that as being a possibility. And so I took off in the history area.
And how did that go?
I didn't major in history.
Okay.
What I did at Montgomery College was I finished up, I was on a path for liberal arts. I did not get my associate's degree because my last semester they changed the requirements.
Oh no.
And they required a math course. And I was really near finishing, and I didn't want to stay another semester to take a math course.
Just take one class.
And I was transferring, and I had already gotten accepted into UMBC as my transfer.
Go Retrievers! Go Retrievers!
Go Retrievers! Just don't bark. And because I'd already gotten into UMBC, I just decided that I would just transfer and get my bachelor's. However, what I did when I went to UMBC, and I would encourage any student out there that is exploring, if they can, I've actually made appointments with the head of the sociology department and the head of the history department, because I couldn't decide between sociology or history. And I made appointments with both of those folks and sat down and talked about basically return on investment. I'm spending all of this money to attend UMBC. Am I going to be able to get a job with a major in sociology? Am I going to be able to get a job with a major in history? What does it really look like? Because for history, I wanted to be an art buyer. And the history person told me all of the classes I would need, and if I wanted to be an art buyer, what that realistically, what that would look like for me.
Right.
And it wasn't something that was for me. It had too much. It was too much math involved, to be quite frank.
Okay.
And it was too many economics courses. It was a whole lot involved other than just knowing art. I was going in thinking, I just need history, art, and a foreign language. And he said, yeah, you're going to need a little bit more than that,
right?
And a little bit more than entry-level Spanish or Italian. You're going to have to be fluent in these languages. And that just wasn't my bag. And so when I talked to the sociology professor, what he shared with me in terms of, he said, the field is wide open depending on what you want to do. And I said, okay, I'm still not sure what I want to do, but sociology might be in the bag somewhere. And so we talked about, one of the things I did have an interest in was sociology of aging. So I followed that path to sociology and with a specialization in gerontology. And so I did that and was successful with a degree in sociology.
You were telling us about you sitting down and interviewing the members of the staff at UMBC about the history and the sociology department, and really asking them some critical questions about, like, can you get a job? What is the return on investment going to be? Tell us a little bit more about that.
Well, I decided on sociology because I thought that was going to give me the best option, and the best option meaning that it didn't pin me into any specific career field because I could do a number of different things. Now, what was interesting about my path was that even when I was getting my degree in sociology, I remember going to UMBC's Career Services Office to seek assistance on graduate school because I knew that I had to go to graduate school to really cement what my next step was going to be. Because even in my senior year, I was still sort of flip-flopping on what I wanted to do, although I knew I wanted to stay in school.
Gotcha.
And one of the things that I realized through searching, although occupational therapy wasn't in the works for me, I realized I really like working with people, but I didn't want to be a social
Mm-hmm.
worker. I like the idea of counseling. And so that's what I ended up getting my master's in at the University of Pittsburgh is cross-cultural community counseling, which is basically diversity counseling.
Okay. So you were
Yeah.
on top of the whole DEI movement before there was a DEI movement.
At that time, people were looking at diversity, but it wasn't as hot as it is now.
Mm-hmm.
Now it seems like every corporation, every organization has a DEI or a DEIB, diversity, equity, and inclusion and belonging person or chief officer.
Right.
Yeah, so you could say that I was at the birth of the DEI movement.
Absolutely. You're an originator, pioneer. That's what they call y'all people. They call y'all people pioneers. So, as you okay, so that made that you talked about your transition from the community college into the 4-year college and then into grad school. And so looking back at your experience, if you, let's say magically, we can go back in time, give your parents the check so that you could go to Purdue, and change the trajectory of your life. If you had that to do over again, would you choose to go back to do it all over again and go to a community college, or would you have gone to a 4-year college first?
That is a very good question. I think I would have chosen to go back to my 2 year because it was such a positive experience.
Okay.
It was an affirming experience for me academically and socially that I don't
Okay.
think I would have been able to get the same kinds of things that I got out of the things that I got out of my 2 year, I don't think could be duplicated from a 4-year institution.
All right, so tell me about some of those things, because again, we have a lot of parents who will be watching and some students who will be saying, well, you know what? I mean, so what if it's not the 13th grade? What did Dr. Talbert-Horsey get out of going to a 2-year school that would make it worth it?
For me, academically, it was excellent.
Okay.
I got a great education. I learned how to advocate for myself. I learned how to
Talk a
pick
little
my
bit
own.
about that.
Well, I learned how to stand up for myself. I learned how to communicate with my professors in a professional way. I learned to identify what my needs were. And in part, I
Uh-huh.
learned how to do that because of a lot of the women that worked at the college became
Okay.
my informal mentors.
Ah.
And they were sort of guiding me along the way
Uh-huh.
because I worked on campus as well. So it was a campus job, but it was still work. I still had to put in time away from classes and that kind of thing to work on campus. Um, so I was working around a lot of women who were invested in my success. Even my professors were invested in my success.
Huh. Did you have a similar experience in your 4-year? I mean, I know
No,
they're supportive at UMBC, but was it as supportive at
no,
UMBC or in your master's and graduate as it
no,
was in the 2 year?
no,
Okay.
no, no. That's all I can really say to that is no. um, UMBC was great. There were some professors that were better than others in terms of connecting with their students.
Uh-huh.
I felt that with respect to, if I were to compare the professors at my 2-year school to the professors at my 4-year school and at the master's level, there were a couple professors at the master's level that were really invested.
Okay.
There were others that were there for the check. They were phoning it in.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
They really weren't guiding the class. They were basically phoning it in, waiting for retirement.
Well, one of the other things about community college professors as opposed to those, particularly at a 4-year university where this is a research emphasis, is that the whether professors get tenure or not, and those things are more focused on their research instead of their engagement with students, as opposed to the community college where there isn't as much a research or publishing emphasis. So student success and student engagement, at least to me, seems to be a larger portion of the engagement of the conversation.
I agree, but I would also say I'm not
Did you
going
hear
to
me?
make this. I can hear you. I'm not going to make this a fairy tale and say that all professors, community college professors, are like that, because that's not the case. Not everyone is invested in student success. Some people are still phoning it in at community college, but my experience wasn't like that at all. Everyone was invested. As I said, even the administrators, the staff was invested in the student success. Um, Everyone wanted what was best for you. And it was what you deemed as success, not what they deemed success to be.
That is
See you at the top, it's been a while for you. Big you up and they look down on you. Take one loss, no one's around for you. I won't stop, no, 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 no. I won't stop, I won't stop. I won't stop, no, 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 no. I won't stop, I won't stop. Yeah. I'm so handsome. All in Carmine's with my Benz, I'm so fancy. No romancing. Got my baby and she right, she make you vanish. No time to play, got book dates. Had a plan, only had to wait. Always knew I'd make a way. Send a bill, they send a pay. Keep it real, keep the record straight. Keep it real, no time to fake. All authentic in my own lane. I am me till I'm in the grave. Trendsetter, I got style for you. Ain't seen you at the top, it's been a while for you. Big you up and they look down on you. Take one loss, no one's around for you. I won't stop, no, 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 no. I won't stop, I won't stop. I won't stop, no, 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 no. I won't stop, I won't stop. Ooh, never panic. Get a worry, send it up and then advantage. Ooh, I can't stand it. Out of all the way you move it, see you scrambling. On offense, no defense. Still strong, no weakness. Used to say I wouldn't beat this. Now they wish they could beat this. Tables set, not tables turn. God's plan, don't say a word. Know the price, cause I know my worth. My time, get what I deserve. Trendsetter, I got style for you. Ain't seen you at the top, it's been a while for you. Big you up and they look down on you. Take one loss, no one's around for you. I won't stop, no, 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 no. I won't stop, I won't stop. I won't stop, no, 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 no. I won't stop, I won't. Trendsetter, I got style for you. Ain't seen you at the top, it's been a while for you. Big you up and they look down on you. Take one loss, no one's around for you. I won't stop, no, 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 no. I won't stop, I won't stop.
Now, I told you I know dope people, didn't I? I know some of the dopest people, and I am so glad I get to share them with you. Thank you so much, Dr. Michelle Talbert-Horsey, for coming and gracing us with your presence and really sharing your experience and information to hopefully help our kids do better. Well, all right, ladies and gentlemen, I will see you tomorrow. We will be black then.